She is running out of places to hide. A woman who once commanded the global spotlight has completely vanished into the shadows. Insiders claim she appears completely disheveled, a staggering contrast to the polished image she maintained for decades. She is moving in secret from one secluded estate to another, couch surfing across Europe to evade tracking. With her safety net gone, she has been forced to turn to a wealthy figure from her past, a former lover who holds the keys to her ultimate escape. But why is she running now, and what did she leave behind? We are uncovering the dark truth behind this secret network, and the most shocking revelation waits at the very end of this story. You won't want to miss a single second. If you love diving deep into the hidden side of history, hit that subscribe button and join us for every twist. The ultimate shield for a woman fleeing the global spotlight isn't a royal fortress, it's a billionaire's playground. While the world searches for Sarah Ferguson, insiders say she has found a ghost from her past willing to hide her in plain sight. Deep in the English countryside, a sprawling historic estate has allegedly become her temporary sanctuary. This isn't just any property, it's Sevenhampton Place, the former home of the man who created James Bond. And the tycoon who owns it has a history with Sarah that dates back long before she ever wore a royal crown. Paddy McNally, the legendary Formula One mastermind, is a man who built an empire on speed, wealth, and absolute discretion. Reports suggest that when Sarah's financial world began to collapse, he was one of the very first people she called. For a woman reportedly struggling to figure out how she will get through this crisis, McNally's vast resources provide an invisible safety net. But this arrangement isn't about luxury vacationing, it's about survival. Rumors indicate she is moving quietly between his properties, staying completely out of sight of the British paparazzi. Yet, hiding at the estate of a powerful ex-lover carries a psychological weight that most people could never handle. It requires swallowing an immense amount of pride, especially when you look at the complicated history these two shared. Decades ago, their romance was intense, volatile, and ultimately heartbreaking for Sarah. Now, she is dependent on his goodwill just to keep a roof over her head. But the Wiltshire estate is only one piece of the puzzle, because McNally's empire extends far beyond the borders of England. When the heat in the UK becomes too intense, the network adapts. Insiders claim that plans have already been made to shift her location to the ultra-private alpine slopes of Verbier, Switzerland, or the sun-drenched coast of Saint-Tropez. In these exclusive enclaves, the wealthy can buy total anonymity. For someone rotating between 3 different mobile phones out of sheer paranoia, this level of isolation is priceless. But as secure as this Formula One tycoon's network seems to be, it is not the only shadow refuge waiting for her in Europe. Because while McNally offers a shield built on billions, an entirely different kind of sanctuary is preparing its defenses across the continent. A place where British authorities have absolutely no reach, managed by an old flame with an ancient title and a fortress of his own. Crossing an international border changes everything when you are trying to disappear. While the British media monitors every estate in the English countryside, whispers suggest Sarah has slipped out of the country entirely. Her destination is a secluded paradise where the paparazzi have zero leverage and royal rules do not apply. It is claimed she has retreated deep into the heart of Tuscany, finding shelter within a sprawling, fortress-like estate. This ancient sanctuary belongs to a man who captured her heart in the late 1990s, offering a level of privacy that money simply cannot buy. Count Gaddo della Gherardesca is an Italian aristocrat who understands the burden of a public life. When Sarah's world began to unravel amid mounting financial pressures and fractured alliances, this old flame reportedly opened his gates. For a woman described by onlookers as increasingly anxious and disheveled, the rolling hills of Italy offer a desperate chance to breathe. In this hidden domain, she isn't a former royal fighting a reputational crisis. She is simply a guest protected by centuries of family honor and absolute discretion. But stepping into this aristocratic stronghold comes with a chilling realization. Relying on an international count for survival highlights just how completely the palace machinery has cut her loose. Sources indicate she feels deeply isolated, realizing that her survival now depends entirely on the lingering affection of men from her past. Every meal served and every night spent under a foreign roof is a reminder of what has been lost. Yet, the tranquility of the Italian landscape can only mask the tension for so long. Even inside a Tuscan fortress, the paranoia doesn't stop. It is believed she remains hypervigilant, constantly checking those 3 mobile phones for any sign that her location has been compromised. The contrast is staggering. A woman who once frequented royal balconies is now treating an aristocratic estate like a gilded hiding place. She knows that a single leaked photo could shatter this fragile peace and bring the media storm crashing down on her host. But as the days blur together in this rustic exile, a much larger question begins to surface. This network of old lovers has provided a brilliant temporary fix, but a nomad cannot run forever. The shadows can only protect her for so long before the harsh light of reality forces her next move. And the true cost of this endless couch surfing is about to hit closer to home than anyone anticipated. The true price of survival isn't measured in bank accounts, it is paid in human dignity. For a woman who once had an army of palace staff catering to her every whim, the psychological toll of this endless drifting is starting to show. Insiders say the strain has become unbearable, fracturing the carefully constructed armor she wore for decades. She is no longer the bubbly, confident public figure the world remembers. Instead, reports suggest she looks completely exhausted, skipping the high-end cosmetic routines and appearance upkeep that used to serve as her visual shield. In the upper echelons of society, looking immaculate isn't about vanity, it is a declaration of power. Letting that image slip sends a dangerous signal to your enemies that you are losing the battle. Rumors indicate that friends are deeply unsettled by her current state, describing her as frantic and constantly on edge. She is reportedly trapped in a cycle of checking her devices, terrified that a single digital footprint will give away the location of her latest protector. This isn't just a physical retreat, it is a complete emotional collapse. But why would a woman with so much history swallow her pride to live on the charity of former flames? The answer lies in the brutal, transactional nature of the institution she left behind. According to sources, Sarah feels utterly abandoned and betrayed by the royal circle, viewing them as a cold machine that uses people when convenient and discards them when they become a liability. When her businesses began collapsing and the spotlight grew too hot, the palace gates locked tight. She realized she had to look outside the monarchy to find anyone she could actually trust. This realization exposes the ultimate irony of her entire life story. The grand titles, the royal protocols, and the massive security details were completely hollow when the storm arrived. Her most valuable asset was never a crown or an official position. It was her raw, magnetic personal charm. The very connections she made before and after her marriage have become her final line of defense. But relying on the emotional remnants of decades-old relationships is a highly fragile strategy. As she moves quietly from the high-speed world of a Formula One tycoon to the ancient valleys of an Italian count, the cracks in this network are beginning to widen. You can only stay as a guest for so long before your presence becomes a risk to the very people protecting you. And back in England, the one man who was supposed to be her permanent anchor is watching his own world burn to the ground, threatening to drag her down with it. The most unbreakable pact in royal history has officially shattered. For decades, the public was told that Sarah and Andrew Mountbatten Windsor were the happiest divorced couple in the world, sharing a home and shielding each other from every storm. But behind the scenes, that legendary alliance has reportedly reached a breaking point. Insiders say the intense pressure surrounding the Windsor estate and ongoing reputational fallout has forced a devastating wedge between them. She isn't just traveling to see friends, she is actively running away from the wreckage of his world. For years, no matter how severe the scandal, Andrew was her permanent anchor and her safe harbor. They presented a completely united front to the world, proving that their unconventional bond could survive anything. But according to sources, the atmosphere inside their shared residence became toxic as the legal and public scrutiny intensified. Sarah allegedly realized that staying tied to his sinking ship would permanently destroy any remaining chance she had at a public comeback. The decision to pack her bags and turn to her shadow network of ex-lovers wasn't just about a change of scenery. It was a strategic escape from a collapsing dynasty. This sudden distance has sent shockwaves through their inner circle, raising massive questions about what happens next. If she can no longer rely on the man who stood by her for 30 years, her position is far more dangerous than anyone realized. Rumors indicate that Andrew feels deeply isolated by her departure, viewing it as the ultimate betrayal during his darkest hour. Yet, Sarah is reportedly consumed by her own survival, convinced that she has sacrificed enough of her own life to protect his secrets. But as she drifts further away from the safety of the Windsor estate, the financial reality of her independence is setting in. The wealthy ex-lovers providing her with private sanctuaries are offering a temporary shield, not a permanent salary. She is currently cut off from royal funds, her own business ventures have collapsed, and the bills are rapidly piling up. To survive without the palace, she needs a massive influx of cash, and she needs it immediately. This desperate financial bottleneck is forcing her toward a terrifying choice that could change the monarchy forever. Whispers are growing louder that she is secretly negotiating a deal that would expose everything she has kept hidden for decades. She is holding the keys to the kingdom's deepest secrets, and as her options dwindle, the temptation to cash in on those secrets is becoming impossible to ignore. Ultimately, this shadow network exposes the most striking reality of Sarah's entire journey. When the grand illusion of royal status finally fell away, she was forced to return to the only thing that had ever truly been real: the personal relationships she forged on her own terms. The palace gates have locked tight, her business ventures are gone, and her historic alliance with Andrew has completely fractured. Yet, while the monarchy remains a cold, unyielding corporate entity that discards individuals when they become liabilities, the old flames from her past have chosen to answer her call. They have built an invisible boundary around her, proving that lingering human affection can sometimes outlast the power of any crown. But hiding in the shadows is a temporary shield, not a permanent destination. As she balances on a razor-thin wire between maintaining total anonymity and navigating a desperate financial bottleneck, the clock is ticking. You can only live as a guest for so long before your very presence begins to compromise the people trying to keep you safe. She has reached the absolute end of the road, and the definitive choice she makes next will inevitably echo across the globe. What do you think? Is Sarah the victim of an unyielding royal system, or is she simply facing the natural consequences of decades spent navigating the most volatile circles of high society? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to stay ahead of the curve on these high-stakes mysteries and get the sharpest insights into the changing landscape of the monarchy, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. Join our inner circle, turn on notifications, and you will never miss a single twist as this extraordinary story continues to unfold.